Okay, so I guess we can start off, and I just quickly, although uh, we all know about him, but he had been with us for you know for many sessions. So I once again welcome all of you for this very interesting session on career opportunities after engineering. So this is a very famous and very much into headlines for all those students, especially once you have come to the second year, you are in your third semesters, and students keep on thinking about this topic. So we thought a need to discuss and understand this topic. So today we have with us, we are very fortunate to have Shekhar sir here. So I'll just quickly give a very debrief introduction of him. So he's an assistant professor at SP Jain Institute of Management and Research, Mumbai. In fact, in our own campus in information management area, and he has done his doctorate from IIM Lucknow in decision science and information technology and system area. So IIM Lucknow is one of the good institutes. He has done his B.Tech in computer science from Vishweshwariya Technological University, Karnataka. And he did his master's level course, for which he got a certificate from Federal University from Pernambuco, Brazil, on advanced topics in management engineering. Post his engineering, he worked for 2 years as a senior business analyst at Mu Sigma Business Solutions. And his algorithm at Mu Sigma, while he was working, was presented at annual PMSA conference USA in the year 2012. He was awarded with the Best Performer Spot Award at his company in the year 2012. And he was one amongst the rare 50 global participants chosen for the 12th MCDAM Summer School. This is held in Recife, Brazil. And this is a very rare event, as it happens once in every 4 years only. And just 50 participants in the world get selected for it. So he was the one who was representing India for this particular event. He is a Tata Scholar under Travel Grant category and International MCDM Society Scholar under Event Sponsorship category. He has presented his work at the prestigious Informs annual meeting in USA in the year 2016 November. He received the Best Work Award from IIT Bombay for his PhD work amongst PhD students all across India in the year 2017. And he is one of the few participants at ISB Hyderabad IIM Bangalore Doctor Consortium in the year 2017 among management researchers in India. And he has been a founding president of Vocal Society Vedic OSS for Cultural Advancement and Learning, which strives to build very high values in youths and take them away from self-devastating habits based on Vedic philosophy. And he is a very active member of our Shrestha club, and he has been giving seminars whenever as his availability, and he has given many seminars like this in many colleges like IIT Bombay, IIT Hyderabad, NIT AP. We often used to call him to our college as well. In the last semester, before the COVID, that in the odd semester, the first semester, I'm sure many of you guys could remember we doing his session. He has given a session in our college as well on the very interesting topic of concentration in the age of distraction. And that was one of the very interesting topics that he gives. So that was very interesting. Of course, his introduction is pretty. His resume is quite big. but I thought these were some of the things that I could actually take it out from his thing and put it out for all of you. So he is very frank and he is very very friendly, and he was very much busy actually today, since he is a part of since he has done his B.Tech and he has a very strong technical ground coming from such a very high technical area, and had been awarded by so many different institutions and so many different organizations. So he is at the off late now involved in a lot of interviews, even at SP Jain. So he is a professor at SP Jain now, as I was mentioning. So due to his interviews schedule, he was quite busy today. But somehow I just requested him, and knowing the pulse that all of you are very much wanting this kind of sessions to happen, especially the careers. This is the right platform for you all to have this particular session to then keep on churning about this thought and to go ahead very wisely. So with that, I will take a pause here and will request Dr. Shekhar Shukla sir to kindly take over. His health is not so good, but still he somehow agreed. So I would really want to thank him once again. Over to you, Shekhar. And after the session, we will be taking some questions as well. So in case you get some any questions in the session, feel free to take a note of it, and then we'll be taking it at the end of the session. Yeah, Shekhar.
Yeah.
Shekhar, yeah.
So, I'm very grateful to the club at SPC, because off and on, I keep getting this opportunity of getting connected to all of you, and thank you so much, for always giving an opportunity for connecting with the vibrant youth from different engineering colleges in Mumbai, and especially SPCE and SPIT. So it's always a welcoming thought of serving something within your own campus. So it's always a good joy to do that. And today's session especially is very well placed and very timely, because this is a time of uncertainty, and everyone is indeed um, very worried about what is going to happen in the future, what are the career prospects, uh, and how to exactly deal with this situation. So you know when I got to know the topic, which was career choices after engineering, it was in fact very thoughtful for me as well, to how to articulate exact things which could be helpful to the youngsters as of now. And whatever I could get in terms of my limited knowledge and capacity, I have tried to assimilate everything in a single slide, and sort of trying to present the same to all of you today. So let's hope that the session is meaningful and it adds value, and especially it brings down the anxiety level that many of you might be having because of the present situation of COVID. So let's hope for that, and let's take the session forward, and let's see how this can be helpful for all of you. So Sharad, I would request to have sharing rights. I already have that. Thank you, thank you. So I hope my screen is visible to all of you,
Yeah, very much. Yes,
and simultaneously audio and video quality, everything is fine.
correct. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So without wasting any further time, and let's move ahead. So this is not only the time of anxiety for all the physical dimensions, but it's a very very critical time also for the mental and your inner dimension, which you can say spiritual dimension, and so on. So anxiety need not to be reduced only at the level of your physical dimension of career, profession, and so on, but also at other dimensions of your mental well-being, and you're simultaneously, I would say even more important, your spiritual well-being, because everything else gets nourished from there. So that is very important. And off late you have seen how even the best of the successful people, are crumbling in this time, just because, they cannot live up to the sense of, physical well-being, and because there is no inner fulfillment in their life. You see that, very big trees are, falling down, very big people, are committing suicide, and doing all sort of things, and, they are in a complete state of panic, although they are much much stronger than a, say, a common man. But you'll see that there are hardly any episodes where you will see that, a very poor person, out of his difficult situation has committed a suicide, or because of the present situation has committed a suicide. And the reason is pretty simple, because although they lack in money, but, or they lack in repute, or they lack in name and fame, but, simultaneously they have some value system, some ecosystem around them, which keeps them going. There is a certain set of values, there is a certain set of inbuilt mechanism, there is a certain set of, spiritual strength, that, that lets them keep moving. And you know although this session is pretty much focused, and we'll surely talk about the focus of the session, which is exactly the career options after engineering. But, simultaneously, it's really very very important that we simultaneously do not, succumb to the scenario that our mind puts us into. We have to understand that if there was a 2019 which passed by, then we should understand that this 2020, or say let's say 2021, will also surely pass down. It's only the matter of fact that, that time has to go away, and what we have to keep is, our perseverance at height, our spiritual strength at height. Probably this is, the most important time of testing your, practices, in terms of what values you follow, what spiritual methods you follow, to keep yourself compact, to keep yourself in a state of composure, and so on and so forth. So with this note, I would like to begin, although again re-emphasizing that we'll not miss out on the physical dimension of the discussion, which the title says career options after engineering. But simultaneously, I would not hesitate to say that everything what we are going to talk today will make no sense if you feel void at the end of, your mental well-being and spiritual well-being. And I can say that these trees, fall in a hierarchy. So if you are spiritually well-being, you can consider that your mental well-being will automatically come. If you are mentally well-being, you will be able to concentrate on the physical dimension of life, let's say health, career, and other things. But if you miss out on, the basic, the grassroots level things, if you do not nourish your inner self, I can very surely say it's really very 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 difficult to, survive during this time. So with this note, let's move forward, and, let's start, talking about, is your mind creating a bigger pandemic for you? So, yes, there is a pandemic. There's no doubt about it. That's there in the environment, and we are very humbly accepting the matter of fact that yes, there is a pandemic. Every day, almost some 100 plus people are, leaving their bodies. In fact, to be very honest, and this is not for the session, today morning, I have lost two very close people, exactly from my own family, to corona, and pretty healthy, in their 40s to 50s. So it's a difficult time, I can say that for sure. And if you do not have a higher, belongingness, if you do not have a higher zone of strength, I can really say that, you are in a biggest mess of time. So is your mind creating a bigger pandemic for you? Yes, that's for sure. you know Although there are difficulties, uh, and which is not denied, but, there are, so I'll tell you a matter of fact. 100 years back, when there was a time of plague and, Spanish flu and so on, that was also the same time when, most of the scientific theories that you are reading today were discovered. So what does it mean? So it means that, people who had idle minds during those times. And obviously that was also an era where everything was, came to a standstill. But the matter of fact is that, during that time also, there were people who, creatively worked, had focus, and they moved ahead. So, what better to start, anything apart from the shloka of Bhagavad Gita, which is from chapter 6 and verse number 35, which says, Ashamshayam Mahabhahu, Mano Durnigraha Chalam, Abhyasena tu Konteya, Vairagyena Chigrihate. So, even Lord Krishna is accepting the matter of fact that our own mind is our biggest enemy, and it is very, very, very difficult to control that. It's Lord Krishna is saying this to Arjuna, and let's get the perspective correct. Arjuna is a personality who is much, much, much superior than us, in all material ways, in all senses of being qualified, in all senses of being skillful, in all senses of being, belonging to a very good family, in all senses of being wealthy. But to that kind of person, to that degree of person also, Lord is clearly saying that you're correct. It is very difficult to control our own mind. But how can you do that? Abhyasena tu konteya, vairagyena cha grihate. So, what you have to do is simple principle. You have to make a list of do's and don'ts. So, one way for spending this time of Corona, or this pandemic is, you can keep talking to your relatives that the environment is very negative, how to sustain this environment, or what to do, and so on and so forth. But the other dimension of life could be that most of us are stuck in our homes, and what you can do is, you know you can really focus on your uh, understanding of, your core focus area. Let's say you are doing an engineering in computer science, so you can really develop good concepts in that. You can invest some time on a daily basis for, spending for your healthy body, which could be, say, doing some yoga. You can do some mantra meditation. Many of you are already introduced to mantra meditation, and I can tell you that that's one of the most powerful processes which can, abstain your mind from any type of wishful thinking or any type of, vague thinking. So doing some mantra meditation, you can read Bhagavad Gita. You can enhance your spiritual wisdom in this time. You can enhance your wisdom, which guarantees you to, facilitate an environment of, controlling your mind, or, giving you a higher thought process. So it's our choice. How do you want to spend this time? Do you want to spend this time in do's, or you want to spend this time in don'ts? So it's very simple to talk about politics. It's very simple to talk about movie industry. It's very simple to talk about all the buzzy things going around us. It's very simple to, keep on criticizing government. It's very simple to, keep talking about what Corona has done to our life. What it has done. I'm not saying that you should not give it to precautions and other things, but simultaneously you should be assured of the fact that, you have to spend this in a positive manner. And spending things in a positive manner does not mean that you have to ignore the negatives, but you do not have to over inculcate in the negatives. That is very, very important. So, this has been laid out as a universal principle of success long back. And probably all these six dimensions still hold true for today's time and place and circumstance. And it says, utsahat nishchayat dhairyat, tat tat karma pravartanat, sang tyagat sato vritti, shadbir bhakti prasiddhiti. So, what it essentially means is that, in any of the situations of life, what are the six principles which can draw you towards success, even in this difficult time also? First is utsahat, which means, it's talking about enthusiasm. Nishyat, which means determination. Dhairyat, which means patience. Tat tat karma pravartanat. So bearing all these qualities, you should keep doing your, prescribed duties. Sang tyaga sato vritti. Again, this is, a re-emphasis on the fact that you have to, uh, belong yourself into a community which is, positively driven. Sang tyagat sato vritti. You have to stick with people who have good intentions, and you have to leave that association which is, completely devoid of any positive thought process and so on. So that's very important as a universal principle of success. So you need to do that. And these 6 principles will be very useful, at least in a given time, place, and circumstance. This is again, just re-emphasizing on the fact, you have to accept the favorable and reject the unfavorable. And that's what I have started the notation with, that it's very, very easy to, keep complaining about the aspect of what the present time situation is. But, simultaneously, it's much more important to position the things in such a way that you should also understand that this is probably the time that you will get as an abundant time for spending on your aspects which you have never done anything for. Your travel time is reduced to zero. Your other type of times which were wasted in earlier days are completely gone to zero. You have ample amount of time, spend it to bring out a beauty of your personality, that could be supporting to your spiritual well-being, that could be supporting to your mental well-being. And simultaneously, I can clearly guarantee you on that, with whatever little experience I have in my life, that once these things are set right, automatically the physical dimension of life is taken care of, and there is no doubt in that. So please be assured of the fact that if these aspects of life are taken care, automatically the other dimensions of life would be surely taken care of. Moving ahead, this we have already talked of, and uh, tougher times require greater determination, and this is precisely from where I will take a movement from the philosophical agenda of the session to the real agenda of the session, where we'll exactly talk about the exact dimensions of this session, what are the career prospects of life. But just understand this verse very carefully. Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 verse 41, व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धि एके ही कुरु नंदना बहुशाखा ही अनंतश्च buddhi avyavasayana. So here Lord Krishna is clearly prescribing vyavasayatmika buddhir eke he kurunandana. Uh, if you make your vyavasay and your own self one, uh, then you can achieve the best in your profession or whatever you are doing. Bahushakha yanantasya buddhi avasayanam. So let's say you have a time for today. And what's the situation of pandemic is right now. It will at least take very easily another 5 to 6 months. In fact, yesterday I was reading a book, not a book, indeed a report on COVID-19, and people were speculating that in India, the peak will come around next year March, where you will have 3 lakh plus cases on a daily basis. And next year June July, when the things will start falling, it might be as good as what is today, 1 lakh cases a day. So you can understand one thing very simply, whether this prediction is true, false, uh, hardly anyone knows, because all predictions have been haywire with respect to whatever has happened. But one thing which one should really understand well, and that is, um, uh, we have to keep moving ahead, and this time has to be utilized on a single focus manner. You have to develop your strengths, you have to develop a mechanism through which you can develop your strengths in a particular field of interest. And that's why here it is said vyavasayatmika buddhi eke he kurunanda, and this word ekah is very, very important. It's not saying that multitasking is good. In Western philosophy we say that he's a multitasker, he does so many things. But indeed, I also used to feel the same thing when I was say 10 years, 5 years younger. But today I can clearly say that that was a falsified thought in my mind. How your mind works when you have a single focus, single agenda, it's not even very close to how it can affect your working and so on and so forth. So my serious prescription over here is one should make a point in his mind, that uh, you know uh, it's about uh, 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 having a single point of focus in various dimensions of life, and moving ahead. So at the same time, you cannot eat and run, otherwise that your body gets affected due to it. In the same manner, we should avoid having multi-dimensional focus, otherwise we are not, it's a saying in English, master of all arts. No, so it's like, jack of all arts but master of none. So you will be average or below average to each and every field, but you'll never become a known personality in one single field. So with this, let's move ahead, and now we get to the actual perspective of what to do after engineering. And I have more or less presented a know-how agenda of all these things, and probably more interesting dimensions would come out in discussions, that I could say very easily, because this is one way knowledge sharing, but probably when you ask questions, that will bring much more light to the perspective of all these dimensions that we are discussing. So let's begin with something called as MS. I know that there are some institutes in India as well which offer MS, and which is mostly a technical degree in its nature. So if it is offered in India, there's no problem. But if you are planning to go abroad for an MS, GRE is the eligibility exam. It's very costly. That is something which you all might be knowing. And especially given the economic situation, the health situation around the world, and especially the job market uncertainty, I'm dealing with people who are very close to their job markets and so on and so forth, and I know what the situation is, and based on my knowledge over there, I'm really saying that do not get into a risky proposition, at least as of today. you know Invest in such a manner in your education that it is sure to reap some benefits. Because if you, let's say, go for an MS degree in a US university and you invest 30-40 lakhs, and in next 2 years, I can clearly say that the situations are not going to become drastically different from what it is today. And in fact, there is a chance that if this continues for a longer time, even the economy could become even more pathetic. So for that matter, I'm saying that make a point that do not invest in education without due consideration. Second thing is, especially this is for abroad based education. And second thing is, I'll be very clear in giving you a perspective. Let's say you are in US and you get into health trouble. Every country has made a clear priority. It is looking after its citizens first, and then you will be like a secondary option over there. In fact, if you are in a foreign country and you get ill, terminally ill, let's say of corona or something, it will be very, very difficult to facilitate an ecosystem around you which can avail you a very decent treatment or something like that. So all these considerations, in my personal opinion at least, makes an MS degree which is driven from a foreign university not very attractive, at least as of today. Moving ahead and talking about M.Tech. M.Tech is one option which is very well renowned. GATE is the exam which is taken for M.Tech. In my limited knowledge, I understand that there are M.Tech exams for branches, let's say computer science, telecommunication, and so on and so forth, which would be electronics and communication. So you have to possess a good branch depth. Branch depth means whatever topics or whatever subjects you have been taught in terms of your branch, that has to be taken care of very well. In Indian scenario, IIT and IISc Bangalore probably are the best institutes at this point in time to go for an M.Tech degree. Another perspective which most of you don't know, and I'm telling you right now, is you can also look for a PhD in management from IIMs like the one I have done. I am also a direct entrant to a PhD program, which was a dual degree program with MBA and PhD. And good thing is that IIMs accept GATE score for some fields. So I clearly know that, let's say, a person who belongs to leather technology, his exam would be in chemical engineering. And in chemical engineering, if you are even suitably good in your subjects, it's very easy to get 90 percentile in your gate score. And if you have a 90 percentile, you will get a call from IIMs, especially in the technical areas. Gate score is accepted only in technical areas. And what are the technical areas? Operations management, quantitative methods, IT and systems area, and so on and so forth. So, that is also a route. And why I have written that over here, the reason is specific. In IIMs for a PhD program, you get 35,000 as a stipend for first 2 years. And next 2.5 to 3 years, you get a stipend of 40,000. So you understand it is as good as a salary component. And for a fresher to start with 35,000 or 40,000, which is completely non-taxable, it's a very good starting, by the way. And second thing is, you get a one-time 50,000 or 75,000 laptop grant. Every year you get 20,000 rupees for stationery, and you get, uh, a conference grant of 1.5 lakh rupees, which can, facilitate you to any foreign country for a conference and so on. So it's a pretty lucrative offer. Only thing is that, many students do not know about it, and they don't know how to prepare for these type of interviews. And that's why, there is a problem in that. Usually this PhD is called as FPM in Indian context. So it's called as Fellow Program in Management in IIMs. So and FPM or DPM, Doctorate Programs in Management. So something like this. And now let's get back to, because of GATE score, we started discussing about, PhD in management. But let's get back to, job market of M.Tech. So, I would very strongly recommend, at least given this time and scenario, prepare well, but, make sure that you are doing an M.Tech from one of the good institutes, and it should not be, any haywire institute where you can get your admission, because the job market is really, really uncertain even after a master's degree. So, it would be very critical, for you to go to a good institute. And good institute again means IITs, ISC Bangalore. Let's say BITS Pilani is also at some level maybe manageable, but dropping from a good level to, any level would be really dangerous in given time and scenario. That's why, hard work required is very, very much. Let's move to the next option which we are talking of, and that is related to MBA. MBAs are expensive in their nature. Even doing an MBA in Indian context will very easily cost you something around 20 lakh. But the catch over here is, the job prospects across all professional degrees at master's level is best for an MBA. So, you should be considering this fact in terms of trade-off of job. And so I can tell you, at least from the perspective of few IIMs where my friends are teaching, and SPJN, because I am an internal faculty over there, I can clearly say that even in the worst of the times, that is today's, even in the pandemic situation, these institutes are really doing well. Still, their students are getting good internships. Very recently, we closed our internships for MBA program, and students were getting, even today, internships offers of 1.5 lakh rupees a month and so on. So for a 2 months internship, they are getting 1.5 lakh, 2 lakh per month. So which is very, very decent. So that's why it turns out to be a decent option. CAT and GMAT are the entrance exams. CAT, I can clearly say, is very, very tough. Only top institutes are preferable, again at this time. So top institute means IIMs and maybe few management institutes which are good, say XLRI Jamshedpur, SPJN Bombay, and then you have MDI Gurgaon in Delhi. So these type of institutes are good. Now moving to the last option, which was not a career choice, at least given to me as an agenda, but I thought that this is probably the best time to encourage the youth who have a clear-cut perspective of having a decent balance in their life, to also encourage them for a PhD program. So there are many institutes, including IITs and IIMs, where you can directly go after bachelor's level. Only thing is you need to prepare well. And as I told you, you are supported with a decent stipend, and that decent stipend is not say 10 or 15,000 rupees a month. It's rather 35,000, 40,000 rupees a month. So you can understand that your sustenance is not such a big question. Second thing is, most of you must be in your 20, 21, 22, 23. If you enter for a PhD program today, by 28, 29, you will come out, and you will be complete in your education. So no further education is required. And this is probably the best deal of this time, because understand that uh, uh, at least for next 2 3 years, situations are going to be pathetic. And if you complete your education in next 5 years, out of which next 2 3 years are going to be very very bad, it's good. And once you come out, you have doors open for both corporate and academia. So it was a personal choice that I came to academics. Even today, if I desire and I start making myself a little updated on what's happening in corporate, it will be hardly a matter of say 2 months for me to get a corporate job. So no one says that after doing a PhD you should only become a professor or a teacher. It's always a personal choice. You can you have a great depth of knowledge. Most of the times you are recruited for research wings of corporate, or very strategic roles where a lot of depth of knowledge is required. Again, I'll my recommendation will be simple. Target for good institutes for doing your PhD. And most important thing in a PhD program is, apart from the eligibility criteria, let's say giving a gate exam or a cat exam or a GMAT exam or a GR exam, most important thing is the interview requires an in-depth preparation. So you cannot enter a PhD program just by having very superficial knowledge. So the knowledge should be really really deep. So that's what I meant to say when it says required in-depth preparation. uh, so this is a brief about 4 dimensions of career which I have thought that I should discuss with you: MS, MBA, M.Tech, and a PhD. And now I'll move ahead and talk about with respect to the job prospects. So what are the direct job prospects, and do I need to get workex for higher education? So let's take one by one. So talking about direct job prospects, so even after hearing about this master's level degrees, let's say MS, M.Tech, MBA, and even the PhD, most of you might feel interested, but some of you might have a personal condition because of which you might not be able to avail education right now or immediately after your degree, and you might have to work for some time, maybe repaying a loan or maybe supporting your family or other things. So I am not commenting on the personal aspects of your life, but if or by your own desire, if you decide that no, I have to work, or I am not feeling like going for an education degree right now. So how do you decide on job prospects? So choose evergreen fields. It's very simple to analyze through social media, and I would recommend all of you to be very active on LinkedIn rather than Facebook, which is a complete crap in terms of whatever content it has, and most of the people waste their time over there. Try to spend more time on LinkedIn, where you get to know about many things. Choose the field with high demands. And what does that mean, high demands? So let's say a field where still the job market is very very open. What are the fields of high demands? The field of high demands are like uh, today's time and place, especially, and I've written that clearly. Technology is the same today's time, place, and circumstance. So all these job places with respect to data analytics, with respect to machine learning, with respect to AI, they are still in a lot of demand. And engineers who have knowledge in this are very well recruited on this. So make sure that uh, uh, you develop some skill set in these. So I can clearly say there is a course on YouTube which is set as data science for business by IIT Madras. You can that is a freely available course and you can go through it. There is an artificial intelligence course by, I think, Stanford, which is completely free. There is a blockchain course by University of Berkeley, which is completely free, available on YouTube. And you have to upskill yourself on these, because the demand of the market is going in that direction. You can understand, every dimension of workspace is today dependent on technology. Even today we are conducting this session, we both might have not connected if Zoom platform was not there. And these were ready. It was not that after this pandemic came, uh, uh, Zoom happened. Zoom happened because it is already there for our service. So this is again another dimension. So emerging landscape of technology is very, very critical. Now coming to, there might be certain questions with respect to higher education and work experience tied together. So in case, and this is only best of my knowledge, if you want to explore more, I would suggest that you can delve further into it. So for an MS, in my knowledge, you do not need a WorkX. For an M.Tech, no WorkX. For even for a PhD program, they do not prefer a WorkX. Only for the MBA program, it is preferred, but it's not necessary. Correct. So this is the scenario of higher education in terms of this. Uh, and to conclude this session, because we can leave few things open for some questions. How do you decide? Because I have also thrown at you some options, but how do you decide what to do? So the cycle is pretty simple, and this is the cycle that you should follow both in times of certainty as well as uncertainty. And that's where the perspective of Bhagavad Gita shlok comes. Vyavasayatmika buddhi eke hi kuru nandana. So first of all, I have told you many things. You should explore these in detail. This is a very brief notation around what each thing is. You should explore each thing in detail and then choose one which really draws your attention the most and suits your own personal situation. Once you choose a particular thing, start focusing on that. And start focusing on that means you should start developing your knowledge as well as network. What does it mean by network? Talk to people who are successful already in the field that you are trying to, because they will give you some hints and tips, which will be helpful for you, otherwise as well. And last is, gain expertise, to succeed. Because in my personal opinion, gaining knowledge is one dimension of success, but connecting to successful people is also another dimension of success. So because they have their own narratives, their own stories, their own experience, out of which you gain a lot and you become richer. I can tell you, every year um, there are at least 2 to 4 boys who are very young in age, and because I have gone to the entire cycle, I'm able to guide them to get into IIMs for their PhDs. Even this year, there was a fresher boy out of electrical engineering. There is a institute called as Harcourt Butler Technological Institute. That's a government institute running from 1800s. So there was a final year student. I guided him for PhD interviews in IIMs, and he cleared both IIM Lucknow and IIM Calcutta, and he has joined IIM Lucknow this year. He's just a fresher, no work experience, nothing. Branch is also not computer science or anything else for which you can think that okay, these branches have more leverage. He is a person from electrical engineering, got into IIM Lucknow as well as IIM Calcutta for his PhD degree directly. And he's so lucky. The job offer that he got was revoked, but he got into PhD and now he's getting 35,000 stipend. So there's no problem, even from the monetary perspective as well. So I had that expertise, so I was able to guide other people. And that's what I'm saying. It's not about only PhD. Whatever degree you choose, or whatever dimension of life you choose to move ahead, make sure that apart from developing a focus in terms of knowledge, simultaneously also connect to people who are successful in that, and they might be able to lend you some thoughts as well as some strategies in which you can move ahead and become successful. So this foundation of success should be laid so that you can move ahead. So with this, I think I have nothing more to say. So I'll stop sharing my screen, and we are almost on the time also. So exactly 7. So with this thought process, I want to leave you, and maybe next 4-5 minutes, if there are any doubts, any perspectives that you want to talk on, we can have a discussion. Otherwise, this is a good starting point for you guys to take this forward. So any thoughts, any comments, any questions, if there are any, they are welcomed right now. So maybe for next 5 minutes, if there are any things we can discuss.
Sir, how are the admission done in FPM program in IIMs?
So Ayush, uh, uh, for admission in FPM programs, the situation is that, as I told, you have to choose one of the eligibility exams. What's your branch, Ayush?
Sir, EXTC,
Roji?
Electronics and Telecom.
Electronics and telecommunication. So let's say, CAT is a completely different ball game. So, if you decide you are good in your branch and you might easily get 85-90 percentile in gate, so just appear for that exam, get a percentile. Simultaneously, there are different areas of management which accept gate score: operations management, quantitative techniques, IT and systems, the technology area, and of these areas, decide which area suits you best. As an engineer, most of the people well suit in quantitative methods, or all of these three areas. It's all about your interest. Read about these areas. That's what I was saying. Explore, boil down to one area, and then focus on your interview preparation. In your case, let's say I can be one of the experts whom you can talk, but I should not be the only one. You should talk also to other people as well, and you get suitable guidance for them, so that when the interview is happening in the next year, roughly around February, March, you should be able to crack the interview well. You should be well prepared for the interview, because PhD interview is different from any regular interview only in the sense that it's a pure depth based interview. It's a pure depth based interview. There are 5 to 7 professors sitting in front of you, and they'll throw questions like anything on you, and you have to answer all of them, and that requires a sufficient preparation as well as guidance. Not only preparation, because syllabus is vast. You cannot prepare everything of management education in that time frame. So it is very critical that you gain your focus, what exactly you have to prepare, and that you will get through the expertise of other people, not by your own. So you focus on that, and then you decide how to go ahead.
Sir, those fields that you mentioned, admissions, we can take a gate for that also, no?
Yeah.
Sir, in gate there are many streams, so I should choose the branch stream or any.
So I cannot comment on gate, Ayush. I don't have
Okay,
much expertise in. I'm like a superficial understanding of the exam.
okay, sir.
Which branch to choose, what to prepare. I would suggest talk to experts, talk to people who have qualified gate.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
And sir, I'm also wanted to know about the bureaucracy that is done through UPSC civil services.
So UPSC is another exam, but it takes time. So Ayush, if you are ready to dedicate, 4-5 years or at least 3-4 years, good choice. I'll encourage you for that. But there is a huge amount of dedication and perseverance. Very recently, the DGP of Orissa was asked what to do, to qualify a UPSC exam. He said that get a 800 rupees Nokia set.
Yeah,
So,
see.
you probably are getting what I'm saying. It requires
Yes,
sacrifice.
sir.
If you're ready to do that, sacrifice is required for all things, whatever career choices we have talked about. But if you're talking about it specifically for UPSC, it requires at least 16 hours a day preparation, and that too you have to give up all your social context things. It requires a dedicated preparation. And moreover, I can tell you more from a superficial perspective. But what to study, how to study, again, I would say, you should go to experts who have, done that. Not only, because this information is something which is, more of verbose or general in society. Everyone knows that UPSC is a tough exam. You have to prepare for 16, 17 hours a day and so on and so forth. But, if you feel that you can do that, get in touch with experts and understand the real scenario. Everyone is not meant also for UPSC. Understand that also. So if you are really, really meant for that, good. Take that instance. And by the way, just for your knowledge, because you have raised that point, one of my juniors, her name is Divya Mishra. I'm telling the name specifically so that you don't feel that I'm, just throwing a fact at you randomly. So she's a PhD student at IIM Lucknow, completed her PhD in May, qualified civil services exam. The result came, I think, last month. So, people also go in PhD or master's level degree and qualify these type of exams. So it's all about, how dedicated you are going to be.
And sir, as Sharad sir mentioned that about the Tata scholarship, is it for masters or I'd like to know what are the scholarships for
Tata
masters
scholarship
program?
is for, uniqueness and merit. It's not for masters or PhD or bachelors. If even at the bachelor's level, if you have done something which is, completely unique out of the box, they'll give you a scholarship. So I got this scholarship because, I was selected in a very rare event. Uh, it was not that I was doing a PhD from IIM Lucknow. It was because that, I was able to compete in a rare event and I was selected over there. So that's why I got it. So it's not about degree in which you are studying. It's about the rareness and uniqueness of your profile or for which you are applying.
Sir, do IITs also have same direct PhD programs?
They have, but again, if you are going for an IIT, you have to, let's say, what's your branch, Arnav?
IT.
IT. So, you have to be very, very competent in computer science. If you have to go to an IIT, because that's a technical degree, understand? So management and technical are, different. Management is more into applications. So, and technology is more into innovations. Understand the difference. So when you go for an IIT interview, the set of questions that will be asked to you will be completely different, when we go for a management degree, because the blend of mind itself is different. One wants to develop newer and newer technologies for better life, and the other wants to take those better and better technologies and transform them into applications so that normal people can use. What else? Is there any questions? Any other questions?
Sir, sir, in true sense, what is the meaning of success? Is it the economics uh, point of view or any way of defining success?
So Ayush, I'll answer that very simply. Uh, for me, my father is also very successful. Do you know the name of my father? No.
No, sir. That's what I was asking. That what success can be defined.
Yeah. So success is often connected only to name, fame, money, and so on and so forth. But success is if you can, uh, feel the sense of fulfillment. Success is not for others. The problem of the society is that we think that if others are thinking we are successful, then we are successful. But it's more about you. I can. I would not say that I'm a successful man or something like that, but I feel satisfied with my career. I have my same same pedigree friends who have got educated from IIM Lucknow, earning at least double than me, but always cribbing about their life. यार फैमिली के लिए टाइम नहीं मिलता है, अरे तुम भक्ति भी कैसे कर लेते हो, थोड़ा मेडिटेशन भी कर लेते हो, हाउ डू यू डू दैट? But I feel that consciously I have chosen a balanced life, and I feel that that's a better dimension of success for me. I am not cribbing about my life. I feel it's a worst time of pandemic going on. Everyone in the corporate life is even if they are at home, they are struggling from 9 to 5. and even after that, because now they are 24/7 available for that matter. But as a academician, I have some limited hours of day. Let's say 3 hours, 4 hours, 1 hour, 2 hour on a regular basis. I've chosen a very balanced life. I think that although I'm earning much less than many others, much less does not mean that I'm not earning sufficient to keep my needs fulfilled or save something. But let's say someone is earning 50 lakhs, so I might be earning just 25 lakhs or 20 lakhs, but I feel satisfied with my life. So in my understanding, and that might be wrong, but it's more about how satisfied you feel about your life. That is success. How people perceive, that's completely a different ball game. Because even if you earn 50 lakh, there will be another person who is earning 1 CR a year, and you'll always be less successful than him, which will give you a sense of being unsuccessful. So only physical dimensions of life do not measure success. There are some things which are subtle, which are deep, and I think that life is a combination of all of them, which makes one feel that whether one is successful or not successful.
Sir, and I also wanted to know, I saw one video of a UPSC aspirant. He was something calling about the identify the calling in you, in which he says that the calling you get is the burning desire that that will make you what you want, and that. And what does the calling and how to identify that?
So Ayush, very simple. Think of a job which you will be able to do even if you're not paid for that. That's your calling. So for me, I feel very happy, teaching or being with the students. So I feel satisfied. I'm talking to all of you. I'm not in a very good state of health. It was very easy. Sharad is a very close friend. I would have requested him. Let's not have this session today, next week or somewhere. But you have to get out of your comfort zone and do something. So that is your calling. UPSC sounds to be very attractive, very lucrative. Often what happens, we do not focus on our calling. We focus on how pomp and show the things have. UPSC is obviously a very powerful, scenario. If you qualify, you are one of the most powerful peoples in the country. So obviously it attracts a lot of attention. It has also money and other things with it. But think of, and as a let's say, I'll talk about my own profession. I feel a sense of fulfillment. It's not only that I'm earning, it's also that I'm contributing to the society in some way. Not in a very huge way that my name will be marked on marble stones and so on, but in my own limited capacity, I feel that if I'm able to give positively to any of you, and you take some words of mine in your life and which brings a brighter landscape in your life, I think I have done my part. And to make the thing short, I have also worked in corporate. I can tell you, you will never feel satisfied. And we have talked about satisfaction in the terms of success. You'll never feel satisfied until unless you are serving someone. And this is, this is the principle of, the deep most spirituality also. If you are not serving, you'll never feel happy. Corporate jobs, you will never understand whom I am serving. Where is my code going? Where is my data going? Who is taking my data? Who is taking my code? But it's just happening. Every day you go like a machine, you sit down, you code, you come back, and you say, "Ki, "Arey bhaiya, month ke end pe 50,000 rupees milenge." Good. When you work, this is a very close group. I'll share. When I was working in corporate, I was not able to do any service. From last 3 years, I am affiliated to Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI. What you say, CBI is very, very much on television nowadays. Very popular. I'm working with them, associated head to head with them. On a daily basis, I talk to joint director level of CBI people. Do you think it would have been possible if I was there in corporate? So that's what I'm saying. Choose
Absolutely
a profession.
no.
Choose a profession which brings a sense of service, and service means, I'm not telling you, to boast about myself that, okay, I'm also working with CBI. My profile, Sharad has introduced so wonderfully that I don't need to speak much more apart from that, But the matter of fact is, I'm telling you this, you understand. If you'll have time, then only you'll think about serving others. If you're not, you are 24/7 dedicated to your own basic needs, food, housing, clothing, and shelter, how the hell you are, going to think about that there are other humans also in the society or in this planet whom I have to serve? There is, a higher dimension of life which calls about service. So, choose a profession, and this is my personal opinion. I have been married in 2018. My wife has done her MBA from BHU. That's also a decently good institute for education. She asked me this, and I'm sharing this on a personal front. She asked me this. I'm not feeling very good of my corporate job. She had got a 12 lakh jobs in SBI mutual funds after her MBA, and I asked her to drop that and do a PhD. The reason is simple. I told her that you'll never feel satisfied unless you get a sense of fulfillment of serving others. And this corporate jobs will never do that, because you are so self-centered that you always keep thinking itna money generate karna hai, itna ye karna hai. Money is important, by the way. I'm not saying that bina money ke kuch hone wala hai. But money is important at a certain level. And I'm telling you, these jobs of service, after time, money also becomes so abundant. There are so many people standing to give you money, because you are serving them out of no desire or no expectations. So this is why I'm saying that choose a profession, and that cannot maybe happen immediately. That might not happen immediately, that after engineering you get into a very noble profession of serving others. But if the goal is clear, at least in 5 to 10 years down the line, you will surely be in a profession where you will be able to serve others. And the sense of satisfaction that you get by serving others, there's no comparison of that feeling. I can tell you clearly that. So if there are no more questions, I think,
Yeah, anything else guys want to ask? I hope the session was so interesting. I was right there on my seat. Anything else somebody wants to ask? Arnab, Sarang, I
Oh,
would just...
for blockchain, which university was there?
University of Berkeley. You'll just drop a search in your YouTube and you'll get it. Complete course is there, blockchain and cryptocurrency.
Okay, so I think with that, I would like to really thank, and I hope, you all would be feeling the same. And, this was something very interesting, talk which, he actually gave in spite of his bad health. So as, so you can just expect, right, that, what kind of then, what is his persona, and, the inner strength that one has, by which he actually shares. So I would really thank Shekhar sir for taking out his time, very valuable, and he answered so well many of your questions also. I was really stunned, the way how Ayush was asking such genuine questions, and very very nicely he answered. Especially I liked something too, 2-3 things I will mention, which was really very inspiring for me personally, and I hope it will be for you as well. Especially when he was talking about satisfaction, right? So very nicely, he mentioned, and somewhere I had also heard this. It is said that satisfaction, which Ayush was talking about, is a function of expectations and realization, which he was also talking about. And expectation and satisfaction lie in our circle of influence, actually. But realization is something that we will get through this inner strength, and that we get by accepting this mantra meditation, which he very beautifully brought out in the beginning of his session. So yes, we are all looking for satisfaction, and as he mentioned very correctly, that in corporate jobs, Actually, it's a very, very true thing, and I would really compliment him for sharing so openly. And because this is a closed forum, and we believe that you all know him personally, and you all have taken a lot of benefits of his valuable time and association. So it's very, very rare to actually find someone who can share like this. So it's a great privilege that we have, as a part of this Shrestha family. And also, he mentioned some beautiful shlokas from Bhagavad Gita. Maybe you can take a note of it. And in case if you have access to Bhagavad Gita, please read it once again. It's 6.35 shlok that he was referring to. Very interesting shloka. Asamshayam mahabaho manodurnigraham chalam abhyasena tu konteya vairagena cha grahayate. He was talking about, I guess, the do's, abhyasena, and the don'ts is the vairagya. So the do's is the favorable, and vairagya is the unfavorable or the negative things. And do's also refer to interpretations, and don'ts refer to belief. I guess that was what he was talking about. So it was very nicely, he brought it out. Also, he spoke about the something tougher times require greater determination. Yes, that was a very amazing line that he mentioned. So yes, the mind, it's all about how we remain focused in our aim of life, and that's why the Vedic scriptures they recommend this focus is something. This example comes of a magnifying glass. The magnifying glass, if kept, close to the paper, although the sun rays are anyways falling, all over India, all over the world, but you will not find, it gets, burning sensation anytime we get. That is a great arrangement of Krishna, that he has kept this ozone layer, right? Because of which we are all saved. But this magnifying glass makes all the rays converge, and it starts burning. Similarly, mantra meditation, it helps us to actually deepen all of our thoughts, and the way how we beautifully brought out of explore and sit back and contemplate what we want to do in life, how we want to achieve. And this is what is the success formula. Also, the success lies in in trying to fulfill and to understand actually what is the need of us. When we will try to understand the when we will try to analyze what are we really looking for in life. Isn't it happiness? And how we derive that happiness, as he very beautifully rightly said, Shekhar sir, I really want to thank him to beautifully bring out this picture of serving, right? We have to serve somebody, isn't it? So I really thank him once again for giving his valuable time. Thank you very much uh, for that, and we hope that in future also we will certainly would like to invite him time and again. And it was a very, very, very beautiful session. uh, with that note,
Thank you for having me, Sharad. Thank you so much.
yeah. Yeah, thank you. And I hope all of you guys would have derived a great time in sharing with him, although it was just 1 hour or so, but that was really worth spending, right? Worth spending. Thank you very much once again, Shekhar sir.
Thank you.
And I want to thank all of you also for taking out your valuable time to join here with us. And thank you once again. Yeah. Have a good day. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.